Good morning and welcome back, everyone, to yet another Agent Call review. This is something that everyone should have their mentor do for them. Whether it's a good call or a bad call, knowing what you're doing wrong is the first step to doing what is actually right. Remember, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence isn't an act, it's a habit. I'm Ryan Valet, your FExpert or final expense expert, and I have actually made over 20 grand a month for 3+ years as an agent myself off of client booked appointments only. Now, my goal is to help as many agents as I can understand how to truly make a living selling final expense life insurance, whether you're sitting at your desk in a cubicle or dialing in your underwear at home. Please do me a favor, like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Let's get into it, guys.
Hello.
Hey, this is Richard calling about that request you put in. You were
Yeah.
looking, yeah, about final expenses.
Yeah, I've been sick, so I probably missed your call.
Oh, it's okay. You
Uh,
you put your beneficiary as.
yeah, they're my.
All right, cool. Well, in case you missed it, this is Richard with Reveiw, and this call is being recorded for quality assurance.
Okay.
So, about how long have you been looking into options?
Only about a month or so. I just went to a friend's funeral, and the kids didn't have money to cremate their mother and nothing. So I have 5 children. I have 5 kids, and I don't want them to. I want to be ready to go and paid for.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, unfortunately, we've pretty much all had that same experience where somebody passes away unexpectedly or even expectedly. And
Yeah, you don't plan for. I guess you don't. Like way back when I should have been doing this, not when I'm 58 now.
well, hey, it's a lot better than 78. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, my dad, he's so good in shape, and I look at him I'm like, what? And I wish I had your genes and not my mom.
yeah, you could be surprised. I've got a great uncle that's he still gets up and drives every day, and
My dad does too, and he walks. He takes long walks. He rides a bike. I've had 2 knee replacements and or 1 knee replacement, and I've had surgeries, quite a few surgeries. So, I mean, he's only had 1 a stroke, so he's doing good.
dang, yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, well, at least you got half his genes.
Yeah, I got his happy genes.
Hey,
he's go happy.
that'll help you out living a long time.
Yeah, instead of being always ornery and grouchy.
Yeah, being positive will help you.
Yeah, but I
Mental health
just
and
started that.
physical health.
I got a son that is telling me when I get up to, because I'm divorced, so he's like, stop being depressed. Somebody's out there for you. I was like, I don't want no damn man.
You might be happier without one.
That's what I say. I don't have nobody to tell me what to do.
Yeah, what we having for supper? What we having for lunch?
Yep. Why ain't the laundry done? That kind of stuff.
Mhm. I know. There'd be less drama. Well,
Yeah, it is less drama. My mom and dad split up when I was like 5, and I always remember my dad saying, "I don't need no woman, so don't think I'll ever get one." And he did either. He never got a woman.
dang.
I said, "Well, I like the cuddling and stuff like that. That's what I want."
Yeah, just find one that's really agreeable.
And I've been married all my life. I got married at 16 years old and was married for almost 20. Got divorced 'cause I got beat up really bad. My shoulders got broke, my other arm got.
Dang.
Then I thought I had a really good one, and he was nothing but a cheater. So he cheated so bad. I believed everything he said. I felt like I was stupid.
Yeah, so he's gonna take a break for a while.
Yep. Yes. I'm gonna worry about. I go by the way. I go worry about myself for now.
Right. So, what's your date of birth? Alrighty. And your approximate height and weight?
I weigh one. I'm on those diet shots, so I've been losing quite a bit.
On the
Yeah, that's what I'm on. Just you see all that stuff that they say about those shots, they scare me.
Yeah, my doctor actually, when I saw her last year, she said she had taken it, and it must have been brand new then. But she said, and like I said, she's my doctor. But she said her kids weren't happy about it. But
Well, people are going blind on them.
Oh dang.
They're going blind, and they're it does put something. I don't understand what paralysis is, but it's putting paralysis in your stomach, and you're screaming pain all the time. So I'm just starting. I had allergic reaction. I didn't know where I was for 2 days.
Dang.
So they took me off that. My kids don't even want me on them. They said, "Mom, you lost all your weight by yourself. Down the way, get on shots." But I'm a diabetic now. That's why.
Oh, I was going to ask you because that's basically compounded insulin, which I didn't realize
Yep,
until not long ago.
I just did it. My son killed somebody. I don't like to talk about it. He went to prison. I went downhill, and that's when I ended up being a diabetic from all the stress and trauma. I was traumatized.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine.
I wouldn't want that to happen to anybody. I'm my worst enemy.
Yeah, that'd be a lot to go through.
Yep, it very was. I was almost 200 pounds, and I went down to 100 within with the trial going on. Yeah, it was bad.
Oh man.
Very bad.
Yeah, but if you're on that compounded insulin, you might not be type 2 diabetic for very long. I mean,
No, they think that I'm going to change it around because I've lost so much weight already on my own. They think I could turn it around, and that's what I'm trying to do.
yeah, I've talked to a lot of people that say they used to be type 2 diabetic and had to take high blood pressure medicine, and then they lost a whole bunch of weight. And voila.
Yeah, I got high blood pressure too. Very high blood pressure.
Are you taking something for that? Losartan or something?
Yeah, Cinepro.
Lisinopril, okay.
Yep, I'm on that. I told him, I just lost my my cousin on a motorcycle accident last week, and when I went to my doctor, I told him, I said my blood pressure is going to be high. He said, "How do you know that?" I said, "Because my cousin just died, and I didn't take that very good."
That's terrible. I hate to hear that.
He was on a motorcycle.
Dang. Yeah, those motorcycles can be dangerous.
Yeah, I tell my kids, do not ride them, please.
No. Even
and then just cut off. I think it lasted a little bit longer than that, but I don't know. It was just small talk for like 9 minutes, and I was just working on a quote, but I should have veered her back way sooner.
Yes. Yep. So again, you brought up this call because you felt like you got put in the friend zone. I don't know that I necessarily got that you were in the friend zone, but you definitely were not about business, right?
Right.
So staying focused in the call, a couple things to talk about right at the beginning. You immediately kept feeding off of what she was talking about, right? Like, oh, well, glad you got good genes. Oh, good. Sounds like you're going to live long. And talking about, I think you talked about your uncle or her uncle. I don't know. And you guys were like going back and forth, just talking, right?
Mm-hmm.
The goal. So that's not a bad thing to do, right? It's not a bad thing to talk kind of personally, but unless you're not actually getting into the script. So what you have to do is you have to position yourself as you're talking about something personal. Yeah, my uncle had diabetes, and I learned all about it. Hey, real quick, let me ask you, just to verify, you put your beneficiary as so and so, which you verified the beneficiary and everything. Your opening was there. The call recording, I noticed I didn't hear the call record. This call is being recorded line. So that would be one thing to make sure that you get peppered in there. I don't think I heard it on the call earlier either, but either way,
Yeah, I usually try to throw that in there early.
yeah. So either way, the more important part is you didn't get to a sale, right? So
Hmm.
whether she wound up hanging up on you because uh, you guys just talked too much, or because her phone died, it doesn't really matter. I the unfortunate thing is you didn't focus enough on what you should have, which is making sure that
Yeah.
you get something, that she gets something in place, right? So again, as you're like talking to them, you can start talking about how she's got diabetes and all this and that, and then oh yeah, so she said she'd been looking for about a month, right? So perfect question is, really, wow, a month. Okay, so what's keeping you from putting something in place, right?
Yeah.
So, because you need to know, it could be that she's tried 100 different companies and keeps getting declined, but it also could be that she just hasn't put in an application because she can't find something that's affordable. And so then the follow up question is, okay, so I mean, what have you been hearing roughly? I mean, that's not affordable to you, right? So you
Yeah.
want to get her talking about the subject at hand rather than just talking to her.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. There's
make
too
sure
much
that
small
you're
talk.
listening. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Make sure that you're listening to them, but you're not following them. They have to follow you. You have to guide them throughout the conversation, throughout the call. So make sure that everything you're asking is pertaining. You're always drawing it back. Jordan Belfort talks a lot about the straight line method, right? The sale is always made on the straight line. So it's always the sale right here. The client's down here, you're up here. If you veer up this way, you always need to bring it back to the straight line. It's okay to veer, but if you don't bring it back, you're not going to make the sale, right? Same way with the client. It's okay for the client to pull you away from the sale, but you always got to veer them back, and you are in control of that straight line. If you're not in control of that straight line, they're going to run all over you, and they're going to tell you they got to think about it.
Mm. Yeah.
So just make sure that everything that you're saying and everything that make sure that you're always focused on bringing them back to the script. So, like, you didn't verify who you were. You didn't say, hey, again, this is Richard. What I'm going to do is shop around for companies. You didn't find her why, right? Like, she was just talking, and you were asking questions, but you jumped into height, weight, date of birth, all those things almost immediately. And if all you're doing is going for the quote, you're going to have far more chargebacks than if you actually build the client, right?
Yeah.
Because if it's just transactional, they have nothing to attach to you. There's no emotion. There's nothing that sets you apart. Any broker can do what you're doing. So if you're not setting yourself apart from other brokers, then other brokers are going to take your business.
Yeah.
So make sure that you're actively listening to what she's saying, but also focus on getting the information. And again, height, weight, none of that. There is no reason why you should be asking that before. Definitely not before 5 minutes, and probably not before Like right around minute 10 is when you
Uh,
usually you should be asking that. Because again, you have to determine whether you can help her. And height and weight or getting a quote isn't a matter of helping her. You have to determine, does she have the need? Maybe she tells you that she's got $1 million sitting in the bank and she saw the ad, just thought that she'd get insurance for free. Right now, you've gotten her height, her weight, her age, and everything for nothing. You've even given her a quote for nothing.
yeah.
So remember, the first 8 minutes of every single call is about trying to figure out whether you can actually help them.
Okay.
Make
Like
sense?
ask more of the health questions. I mean, if I
No, no,
was
no,
just
no health questions. No, in the first 8 minutes, what I want you to do is practice not in the first 8 minutes. Try not to get to the health questions. That's what I want
okay,
you to do. Literally try not to get to the health questions in 8 minutes. Work on the front end of the script. And again, the way you build, so you want to build a relationship, but you want to build a relationship by figuring out what their problems are, what their needs are, what their wants are.
yeah. I should have asked her more about like, so how much coverage you looking for? What,
No, never ask how much coverage. Nope, because it doesn't matter.
oh, okay.
Remember, in the budget, you ask how much coverage they're looking for. One, you ask how much coverage they're looking for, you're going to walk yourself into less sales because most people want 50,000, 100,000,
Right.
right? Because that sounds great to leave that much money, but that's not realistic for these people. For
Yeah.
for the demographic we're talking to, it's not realistic. Even if they're realistic and they say 10,000, I had a lady yesterday who's shopping for her dad, says she just wants 10,000. That's realistic. But I knew that given his age, because she had already mentioned it, given his age, it was going to be expensive. So
Yeah.
uh, knowing that, I knew where we were walking ourselves into, and so in the end, um, knowing knowing anything before, knowing how much coverage they want or anything really doesn't matter because it has to be within their budget no matter what it is. Now, if you were
Yeah.
talking to a millionaire, we don't really have much of a budget. They want a specific amount. That's a different story. But these people aren't millionaires. So
Right.
so how much coverage they want? You shouldn't be asking how much coverage, any health details. It's okay if they tell you, and it's okay if you use. So I'll give you a perfect example. Okay, so um, say you're 2 minutes into the call, and she says, "Yeah, I got this diabetes has really been bothering me." Oh wow! Oh, so are you on insulin then? You see, like
Yeah.
I'm saying it in a way to get information so I don't have to ask it later.
Yeah.
But it's a part of the conversation. And then I just move on to the next part of the script. Instead of asking, okay, so do you have high blood pressure on top of that? Have you ever had a heart attack, stroke, cancer? Can you wipe your own butt? Right? Like you
Yeah.
just because you got one piece of medication or one medication doesn't mean that you need to go into the rest of the um, the medications, right? Um, you can. There's been times, multiple times, where I'm getting medications throughout the entire call, but it's just because the client is always bringing something up. Like, yeah, my high blood pressure got crazy yesterday. Oh, really? Yeah. So my dad's on metoprolol. Are you on like lisinopril or what do you want? Oh, I'm on amlodipine and carvedilol and spironolactone. Oh, okay. I'm writing that down. Right now, I've got
For
that
later.
information. I don't need to ask it.
Yeah.
So and then we get to talking about term versus whole life. Yeah, I had a term at one point. or I applied for a term 10 years ago and they declined me because I was taking a nitro. Oh, so you had a heart attack? Yeah. I had a heart attack 15 years ago, and I haven't had that. So have you had that nitro? Recently? No. I haven't had that for at least 10 years, right? So now
Yeah.
you're building that story. It's okay to talk about it, but you shouldn't be focused on getting it. So no quote. So from here, what I want you to work on: no quote, no health, no nothing for 8 minutes. Every single call. Your goal is to fact find, which is how much they've been looking for, or how long they've been looking, why they haven't gotten anything. Does it make sense to get something today? Introducing yourself and find out why they really want something. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to find out whether or not they want to be buried or cremated, because that's really doesn't matter, right? That's more of a conversational piece. Whether they want to be buried or cremated has nothing to do with what the end goal here is. Because everybody, no matter what their preference is, almost everybody wants to leave as much as they possibly can.
Yeah.
Right? So when it comes to your calls, I want you to practice not getting to anything for 8 minutes.
Okay.
Focus on that front end of the script and how to build a relationship through there. And honestly, man, I mean, I think you've got it. I think you should probably work on being. Did I lose you? It looked like I
No.
froze there for a second. One of the things that would really help you also is being a little quicker with your responses. Sometimes
Yeah.
you're a little slow to
I can
respond.
hear it when I listen to that.
Get her done. No, I'm just kidding. Don't start
Yeah, I
that.
mean, it kind of did sound like I had some kind of fatigue going on, and I was like, I do watch the clock, and it's like I was
Yeah.
just trying to string her along to get to past 10 minutes so then I would start talking about the quote. But I
But
don't know.
if you're just talking about random things, then the
Yeah,
conversation you're having is pointless.
yeah. And
Right?
she
So
was,
so focus on staying to the script. That's one huge
yeah,
thing. Focus on staying to the script.
yeah, because she was driving the boat, not me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So not only were you in the friend zone, but she was telling you what to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know when it gets to that point, it's like, all right, I'm just waiting for this call to end because this is not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But
And you should never have that feeling. Your feeling should always be, I want to end this call because she doesn't want to do anything, because you've
yeah,
determined that she doesn't want to do anything. That's what your frame of mind should be, is I want to figure out when I need to end the call. And I've told
yeah,
people who are like, yeah, I mean, I can't hardly afford anything. I mean, it's going to be a couple months before I can get anything. Hey, look, Richard, whenever it comes down to getting something in place, I would love it if you called me. But I think it's best that we talk about it whenever the time comes, instead of throwing out a bunch of hypothetical numbers. Right? So give
yeah.
me a call in a couple months whenever you're ready. They never call, because
No.
they're going to procrastinate for another couple of years until they feel like they're going to die again. And it's time to get life insurance.
Subscribe now to be a Fexpert. Do it.